Hello everybody, this is Stan the DayZ Sniper bringing you episode 1 of my tutorial series. In this tutorial series we're going to go through everything from the basics to tactics for PvP to stealth to sniping and everything in between. So I hope you guys are excited for that. This is going to be episode 1, so we are going to talk about the basics. So when I talk about the basics, what we're talking about are 4 different things. We want food, we want water. Those are the first 2. And that's what we're going to spend most of our time trying to deal with before we go inland. The third thing is clothing, so we're not cold and we don't get a disease because of the cold. And the fourth thing is going to be some means of defense, whether that's a knife, a hatchet, a pickaxe, a gun, anything that we can use to fend off zombies or other players. So actually, by a sheer amount of luck in this run, I actually get a weapon first. And this is actually a pretty decent weapon if you're going to go inland, or especially at military spots. You want some form of pistol, preferably suppressed. The Mark II is pretty good at that. You don't have to waste time on a gun cleaning kit where you're fixing the suppressor and you're fixing the gun. The suppressor and the gun are one and the same. It is important to note that weapons in this game can be found throughout the spawn towns. You're probably going to be dealing with, for the most part, the BK-12, which is a single-shot shotgun. You're dealing with the BK-18, which is a single-shot 7.62 x 39 rifle. And you're going to be dealing with PD weapons. So you're dealing with M-locks, Scorpions, and 12-gauge shotguns. So the BK-133. So the next thing I end up finding in our chain is food. In spawn towns, a lot of times, your food does not need a knife. However, some things are going to need a knife. So as a subset into the 4 categories, a knife or something to cut open a can with is also vital. However, chips do not need any sort of way of opening them. Canned tuna, dog food, as you see I pick up there, cat food, lunch meat, the little plastic barbecue sauce looking containers of food. They don't need any sort of way of opening them. So a lot of times in the spawn towns, you're not necessarily going to need a knife. Like I just find another thing of canned tuna there. So a lot of times you're not going to need a knife in this early stage. However, getting a knife is going to be crucial as you go inland and as the food is a little more harder to find and harder to get into. While on that topic, I think it's important to note that the other way of getting food is by killing zombies. But in order to kill zombies, you need kind of a decent weapon to kill them effectively. Using your hands as a way to take out zombies, I mean, it is possible. However, practically, you can only take like 1 or 2 at a time without having to deal with a lot. So what I have on my back is actually a sledgehammer. The sledgehammers and the pickaxes especially are really good at taking zombies out in 1 or 2 hits. So if it comes down to you actually having to deal with zombies to get food, make sure you have a good melee weapon. So here we have a PD. In each major city and some smaller towns, they're going to have some form of a police department. The PD is where you get really good things. You get stab vests, which will protect you from some zombie hits and some melee attacks from other players. You will also get what I just got there, an M-lock pistol. And then I also get, if we go into the other room, go. Is it in there? Yes. BK-133 shotgun. A lot of times the shotguns have at least 1 round in them, unless they've already been looted by other players. Bear in mind that your experience from this may differ. Sometimes you're going to run into a town and you're not going to see any loot, and sometimes you're going to run into a town like I've got, and I've gotten pretty lucky. So results may vary. However, this is kind of the direction we go, and you can loot more of this as you see fit. So let's talk about opportunities in DayZ. So in DayZ, you're either going to get a really lucky run or you're going to have a run where you're going to have to grind. There really is no in between. There's never really like an okay like a meh kind of DayZ. So in this, bear in mind I'm on a low pop server. There's like 12 people on the server, and somehow, some way, I run into a guy outside of Svet at one of the military checkpoints. So, you know, this is an opportunity. Depending on how well this guy is at the game, remember, you don't have to be the best PvPer on the server. I just got to be better at PvP than that guy. And that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to be sneaky. We're trying to let him get most of the way through. And that's for a couple reasons. One, if I kill him, he just did all the looting for me, which is great. I don't have to do it. I can move on. I can just kill this guy like I'm about to in this bus. I'm about to take a dump on this dude's chest here in a minute. Yeah. So, and this guy now has given me all the loot. He's got food on him. He's got some ammo. He's got some accessories, which are great. So be aware that there are opportunities out there sometimes. Other times, you may not see anybody. So what you're going to see me do here is get one of the last remaining pieces to the puzzle. I have a water bottle, which is actually pretty nice, so I can store water and take it with me. Most towns and almost all cities have some form of well that you can get water from. Water, relatively speaking, in DayZ is easy to come by. There are two ways to get water. One is you go to a well. The other is you get it from some kind of a stream inland. Bear in mind that if you get water from a stream, you are either going to need to take multivitamins or some form of medication in order to not get the illness associated with it, where you will literally puke yourself to death in some cases. I've had kind of hit or miss experiences with that illness. I've had that illness last like 2 minutes, and I've had that illness last 4 hours. So it's best to just be safe and chlorinate your water. In most hunting places and on some zombies, there are chlorine tablets. Chlorine tablets are very useful, especially when you're trying to make your way inland and you really don't want... You want to avoid the towns that are high traffic areas. So having some chlorine tablets in a water bottle makes getting water a lot easier as you traverse the map. So I know I'm skipping around on a lot of topics, but the more I'm watching this video, the more I'm kind of sitting here going, okay, you saw me start at Svetlojarsk, and now I'm in the town above Novodimitrov. So one of the biggest issues with new people in DayZ is there's no tutorial, right? Like, that's the point of the series. When I started playing, there's no tutorial. They don't tell you anything about the map. They don't give you a map. They don't tell you where you go. This is as open world as an open world gets. You spawn on the coast, and you figure it out. What I would recommend is learn the map. Learn your loot routes. For me, this loot route takes me from Svetlojarsk to Commence Military, and then from Commence Military west to Tissy. If I was spawning on the south end, like a Cherno spawn or a Belota spawn, I'm going from Cherno or Belota to Zelenogorsk, and then I'm making my way to Mishkino 10's possibly Northwest Airfield, and then going to Tissy. And then for the middle of the map, if I'm starting at Electro, I'm going Electro, Steroid, Goglovo to Novi Sobor, Stary Sobor, VMC, Northwest Airfield, etc. So you got to kind of have a plan, and it does require some map knowledge. Unfortunately, the only way you're going to gain map knowledge is by playing the game. There is a map that you can download on your phone. It's called iSurvive. It's a map of the Chernarus map. It helps immensely with figuring out where you are and getting your bearings. At most entrances to most towns, there is a sign that says what the town is. On other towns, there is a train station, and the train station has the town name right there in bold in front of the train station. So understanding where you are is going to make your day a whole lot easier when you're talking about gearing up, because knowing where you are and where your next loot locations are is pretty much most of the battle. So keep that in mind. Also, while I'm thinking about it, there are other ways of getting food. Now, for a lot of animals that you kill, you have to cook them, and that requires building a fire. You can build a fire outside of a house. You can build a fire inside of a house. You can build, you could use a gas canister and a gas stove with a cooking pot and make food that way. I'm going to touch on that a little later in another video. I'm probably going to do a cooking video on its own because this is kind of getting all jumbled up. However, as a rule of thumb, if you're going to do this on your own or if you're going to watch another YouTuber's video on cooking, bear in mind that if you don't have gloves on and you gut the animal, you are going to get that blood on your hands. If you do not wash your hands before gutting the animal, you're going to get sick, and it's going to be a pain in the butt to get rid of that sickness. So make sure your hands are clean. And that's going to be about where I'm going to leave this video. I know it's a lot of different information being thrown at you. I understand that like a lot of this seems like mumbo jumbo at the moment because I kind of jump around. However, this list is the list of things that I would have wished I'd known when I first powered up the game. I spent a lot of times in my early days, the first couple weeks, spawning in Cherno or Electro, not finding enough food, not knowing where the water is, dying, and then doing the process all over again without really learning anything. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you a little bit of a leg up on where I was when I was doing DayZ about 3 years ago. So that's going to do it for episode 1. I am going to touch deeper into each of these subjects where we're talking about especially food and different ways of getting them. I'm also going to talk about the different ways to defend yourself. And I'm also going to talk about the different types of DayZ players and how I think the game should be played. And maybe how other people think the game should be played. This is going to be a series that's going to be ongoing. It's not going to really have any sort of set schedule because this game's really it's really footage dependent. Bear in mind, I'm not on a server by myself where I can spawn this stuff. I have to play the game to get through all this crap. So I got to play the game and then make it. Try not to die in the process. And then make this content for your consumption. So bear with me. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. I'm going to have a few clips that I obtained while playing this life and the next life after that, where, you know, it kind of showcases that, yeah, I'm trying to do this tutorial, but DayZ's still going to DayZ. So enjoy those 2 clips, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good night.